Hello and welcome to Furious Driving, and today we're playing with Hippo the Freelander yet again. Now, you might have seen the most recent video on this car a week or two ago when I had my friend Matt come around and fettle the driver's side underneath the floor of this thing. This is an old Land Rover. It used to live at the seaside. It is inevitably rusty. It has been circling the drain of MOT rust failure for a few years now, but every year we claw it back one way or another. This year I had my friend spend an entire day just going down that driver's side, just touching up anything that looked even remotely dodgy. Then I spent a day just undersealing that driver's side as well. Weirdly, I thought the passenger side was okay. Anyway, that was the last time we saw the car. I'd also spent a bit of time fiddling around with other non-essential things that were bugging me. Then after the video finished, I also unblocked the windscreen washers, which were not working very well on one side or at all on the other because they just clog up, and one of the tail lights I noticed had gone out as well, so I changed all of that. Everything appeared to be working. I've been under the car, had a quick skirt around, and I thought typically for this car it's going to get through with a bunch of advisories. So the last time we saw the car, it was basically driving to get a tank of diesel to go and then drop off at the MOT station. I then got the MOT result and it was a little worse than I feared. Now this is the problem sheet, and there's quite a lot of it. It's filled an entire A4 side, so yeah, not great to start with. Mostly it's monitor and repair, but you know, it's problems that are going to rear their ugly heads in the near future. The first most serious one, do not drive until repaired, dangerous defect, is the near side rear brake hose connection leaking on a hydraulic braking system. And that links to a repair immediately major defect, near side rear brake hose ferrule excessively corroded. And these both refer to the rear drum brake on the other side of the car. You may recall, just before Rustival last year, I set fire to the car trying to get the brakes apart on this side. I did actually buy a brake wheel cylinder to go on the passenger side at the same time, but that was a massive pain in the butt to do this side. So on the other side, all I did was just had to clean up the inside of the drum, replace the shoes and put it all back together again because nothing appeared to be leaking and everything was working. So it looked horrible, but I didn't want to spend a day just taking all that apart again if it was still working. But this, as I say, has been on the cards for at least 6 months. However, it has now apparently got worse. So we'll come to that one. Secondly, near side front inner suspension component mounting prescribed area excessively corroded, significantly reducing structural strength chassis hold. And I had been under this floor, had a quick cursory skirt around, and there was a lot of areas where the underseal, the factory underseal, has peeled off and there's a bit of surface rust, and that was my next job, was to get under here with a wire brush and just, you know, a grinder and take it all back where I needed to and repaint it like I did on this side. What I hadn't noticed, in the corner under there, on one of the outriggers, there is actually a hole. It's up in the corner, couldn't see it when I was on the jack. It's, like on the Beetle, it's kind of round the back, and so unless you're under the car looking properly, you can't see it. It's not a big hole, but it's a thing I'm going to have to fix. Moving on to repair as soon as possible, minor defects, which I'm not sure we actually have to change today or not. Near side front suspension arm ball joint dust cover severely deteriorated, and that goes for the offside as well. Now I've had a quick look online, and lower suspension arms are about £30 each, and it doesn't look like too big of a job to change, but there is one minor problem in that the car failed the MOT ahead of the weekend, and I hadn't realised it had failed. I thought that they hadn't put it through the test yet because they were really busy last week. He had it booked in and he said he might struggle to get it booked and done on the day it was booked for, so I wasn't expecting it to be done, to be honest. Anyway, I checked at the weekend and found it had failed, so I've actually missed a couple of days of my retest time because you get a week basically to get the car back in to be retested for free. So my efforts today are going to be getting the essentials done in the limited time I've got, and then crack on. Okay, so then we've also got to do in the future near side rear vehicle structure or chassis corroded within 30 centimetres of mounted but not seriously affecting overall security. That's near side and offside, so I'll have a look where that is, but I'm hoping that's just going to be the tester just covering himself a certain extent because there is visible surface rust. Offside inner suspension mount repair covered in underseal because it has been repaired previously and undersealed. Near side rear brake hose slightly deteriorated. Okay, so near side front outer track rod end ball joint has slight play. That'll be the knocking I heard. Near side front shock absorbers and offside light misting of oil. But I was looking at doing a lift kit on this thing anyway, so I wasn't too worried about changing the shocks at the moment because I was thinking we'll bring this all back and just make a big underneath change. We've got a bit more rust, front, offside, inner vehicle structure or chassis corroded within 30 centimetres of a mounting, which is the area I was painting with underseal. So I wonder if he's just taken that as hidden rust. Offside front lower suspension arm corroded but not seriously weakened. But then we've also got the problems with the lower arms with their ball joints, so that's fixed by changing both of those. Offside rear inner suspension arm pin or bush worn but not resulting in excessive movement on the trailing arm bush, so we need to do rear bushes at some point as well. So we've got quite a list. As I say, today our real target is to get everything done before the retest, so the basic minimums really. Right, better crack on. The really nice thing about the Freelander is you can actually get underneath it to do stuff like welding without even jacking it up because it's so far off the ground. Thing is though, that back wheel is going to be a lot of trouble later on, so that's off already. I've been soaking it in a bit of the old BDX to try and get these things to a position where I can actually undo them, because I know this is going to be an absolute nightmare to get off. Even though I only took it off a few months ago, it's still going to be unbelievably troublesome. So that can start soaking while I do this. I want to get this bit done first because this is the loud obnoxious bit and everyone's at work, so I can go and do this while everyone's out. And this, I think, is what the MOT man was talking about on the fail sheet. This is just tucked in here and it was just kind of flaky before, a bit like this bit here, and so it didn't look like much until you stab it or flake it. If I'd gotten around to doing this side with the wire wheel, I would have found this, but it just looked okay and solid for the moment. Have a quick look under here. There is an actual intended hole just there, so you can fill it with wax oil afterwards or built hammer or something. So I'll just quickly square this off, grind it and square it, get a thick bit of steel in there. And hopefully this will not be too long and I can concentrate on the horrible job of the rear axle. And this here is the lower arm, or one of the two lower arms, that I need to be replacing. And I know I mention this every time, but don't forget there is the wonderful furiousdriving.co.uk merch store linked in the description below and up above, where mugs, stickers, hats, t-shirts, all sorts of the cars and things are all available. And we've got a rather fun Hippo the Freelander tin cups. So if you're an outdoor adventurous type, doing your camping and your dog walking, you want some outdoor tin cup type drinks and things, those are on there as well. Really like them. And calendars. Calendars are going to discount them actually because it's a quarter of the way through the year. And if you want to support the channel, if you like the stuff that I do on here, playing with the cars, fixing them and entertaining you, there are a number of ways of supporting the channel. There's a Patreon and a channel membership, two options which are very similar, where you get an extra video every now and then and you get a discount for the merch store. And got coffee, appropriate as I've just made a cup of coffee, the Ko-fi. If you feel like supporting the channel in some way, then head over to Ko-fi. It's, again, link in the description. In no way obligatory, it's just mentioning it, putting it out there because I spend my days doing this, hoping you enjoy it. If you do, yeah, I just hope you enjoy it really. Thank you. Well, not massively surprising. You always find the first hole, and after the first hole, there is a second hole. Pretty much standard practice. And the first thing I did before I got started was run down to Halfords, grab a can of CO2 because the gasless stuff was just not happening at all. And also some new welding tips so I could make that not be stuck anymore. Rebuilt the welder. Right, that is relatively tidy. Once it's all gummed up, you'll never know it's there. So jobs are good, and I'll have a quick scan over, make sure there's nothing else I'm missing underneath the car, and then crack on with the brakes. Well, I'm glad the weldy bit's done, because that's one more bit of welding I wasn't planning on doing ever. Still got to do the MX-5, that needs weldying done, but I haven't got around to that yet because I only got the gas the other day. So now moving on to the really fun bit of drum brakes. If you recall the time when I mildly set fire to this car back in November, yeah, I didn't enjoy drum brakes much. Wow, that came undone. I'd forgotten. I was expecting a battle with that. Partly I have been soaking that with Bulldog all morning, but yeah, because I had this off back in November, I was smart enough to actually go and put copper slip on that. I need to put the handbrake off, don't I? Otherwise it's not going to move. I think I learnt that the hard way last time as well. Again, casting iron back to November, I had to basically fight this off over the course of several hours with a massive hammer and crowbars. Today is, well, thankfully I guess, because I've taken it off once already, very recently. Not such a battle. And you can see I did actually clean that all up inside, so that's not too bad. So far, as they say, so good. Now I just need to figure out what the MOT's complaints were referring to. Well, I can't actually see where any brake fluid is leaking, but yeah, I will take this all apart. I've got the heat tool out, and if necessary remake anything, which might need remaking this pipe like I did on the other side. Already got this clamped off, but yeah, we'll just see how we go. Quick. It really is amazing how quick this thing heats up. It's phenomenal. Ah, I'm seeing bubbling actually. I think this might be where my leak is coming from, because I can see bubbling. Yeah, that's where the leak is. Okay, situation update. None of the spanners, metric or imperial, will grip onto this. Where it's rusted away, it's not really any size at all. It's between millimetre or imperial sizes. So I'm trying to free it off with more grips. And there we go, oh, free, there we go. I'll get actually loose enough to undo. That one's nearly all the way out, so that's good. Next, let's work on the other end. Yeah, I'm pretty certain the leak was just there, because there seemed to be kind of bubbling happening. So I think this copper pipe had actually deteriorated a little bit, maybe perforated a touch. Once it's loosened off, then go make ourselves a new pipe. And also replace that thing, which was a massive pain, has to be said. Do you know what? I don't actually think I need to take this one off, because what I can, or do I? If I'm taking this cylinder out, I can probably get away with just cutting the back of this off. I'm wasting my time here, really, aren't I? I've just got to get the cylinder actually out the back of the car. We are no longer playing friendly with the bolts on the back of this thing. It's time to get seriously unpleasant towards them. And apparently my torch. But the thing is, because there's not room to get the blade all the way through or past the first bolt, then the pipe to the second bolt, I just have to go through the whole lot. And the bleed thing. So I've not been using these old blades much recently because they're not very precise. But I thought I'd try and use one up on this rather than bodywork. And I've forgotten just how rubbish they are in comparison to the little kind of laser ones that I've been using instead. The little thin one on there. See if we have a bit more luck with this. No, it won't, because it's not big enough. Oh, crying out loud. Need a bigger one. That thing is getting in the way of actually cutting into the parts. I've got one bolt off, mostly. Well, there's only a bit of fragment left of it. I've not got the real gloves on. If you're concerned I've not got hearing protection on, I've got in-ear sound cancelling headphone things on. Currently it's playing Natasha Bedingfield. Beding. There we go. That's that nut undone nice and easily. I've reached something of an impasse, as I can no longer get the blade of the grinder far enough in to deal with that. I've got a Dremel somewhere, but I don't know if it works. Probably doesn't. Let's see if I can actually lever this off at all, or use some brute force and ignorance to get this apart. I'm thinking I probably can't. I'll be honest, I'm not quite sure how effective this really is. It's doing something, but you know, I don't know if the nut or the attachment is going down faster. It's basically a war of attrition between me and this brake. It was the bolt that lasted longer than the attachment. You can consider it pretty normal to dismantle brakes with a breaker bar. Very normal indeed. I've basically got a little mushroom of a bolt that's holding this thing back in. I'm aware that you shouldn't be using everything as a chisel, but I'm getting a little bit desperate and quite annoyed. No, that will not fit in there. Come on, it's so close to coming through. Oh, it's off. And there we go. That is the old, whoops daisy, the old wheel cylinder removed as cleanly and simply as possible. Now we're not completely out of the woods yet because the new one, as I found with the other side, didn't ship with new bolts, so I had to get some regular, just I think M8s or something. They're too long, so I've got to cut them short, so I'll quickly do that. Right, here is the new wheel cylinder. So what we're going to do is take these new bolts and cut them down. So we've used a nut on there to mark how far down they go in. So unscrew that. Then we're going to wind this back a few turns, cut off at this point, but I'm going to put this back there, so that means that when I wind this nut off, the bolt, that will then clean the threads for me. So there we go. Oh, watch out, it's hot, newly shortened bolt. And the little nut takes the burrs off so we can wind it in easy. Job's a good one. And that new cylinder, because I've rebuilt all the brakes a few months ago, I don't have to go and mess around taking all this apart and cleaning it up. It's all fine. I'll just make sure this is the right length for it. Right, that's the new wheel cylinder fitted, and as on the other side, the weird thing I've noticed is that as you tighten these retaining bolts up, which are now obviously shortened, you pull the bleed thing through, so you can't actually bleed the brakes when it's fully tightened up. You have to leave the thing slack to bleed it and then tighten it up. Really crap design. Incidentally, I've had this in the glove box of the car since, well, November when I did the other side, and the reason I haven't done it is because I knew it would take an entire afternoon to do. Right, okay, now that can now wind out, and now I'm going to make a new one of them which is significantly less bent, leaking and, well, cut in pieces. Well, you might have noticed it's got dark now. I had to stop for dinner, I had to go and cook tea, so a little bit delayed, but now we are ready to go and start making up that last little link of pipe, because we can't do Bluetooth brake lines just yet, so just making sure that the connector plugs, whatever you want to call them, these things do actually fit, and they do. These are actually my last two. I thought I had lots more than that, so I had to get some more in the morning, so I've got some spares. I will now cut up a little bit of pipe. So line that up about that kind of long. So I'll cut this off. I don't mind it being a few millimetres too long. I don't want it a few millimetres too short. It's one of those things, you just keep rotating it, tightening up, and it cuts it off without making burrs and shrapnel that's going to go make a mess inside your pipe. So, length of pipe sliced off, end flared, one end put on there. Importantly, second end put on before I flare the second end. You only make that mistake once. There we go. We now have a nice, fresh, new bit of copper pipe. I could stop calling it wire. Brake line just there. It's quite a neat job actually. So what I'll do now is release this thing here, get the bleed kit out, and hopefully it won't leak. If it does, it'll be very embarrassing. I'm not sure you can call bleeding brakes a finishing touch, but we're going to call it that today. You might have seen this, or you might remember this from previous videos. This is the one-man bleed kit where you literally just pump this up to get a little bit of pressure in there. That then feeds brake fluid from its tank there into the reservoir. Don't pump it too much because it will leak out and make a horrible mess. A little tiny bit of pressure there, and go in the back of the car, free off the bleed, it'll blast out the air, followed by a bit of fluid, and we're good to go. Right, that is now all bled up, and as I think I mentioned this morning, this is the dumbest design of wheel cylinder I've ever come across. The bleed is way too close to the pipe, so you can't get a spanner on it easily. It's also, as you tighten these nuts up, these bolts that hold the cylinder into the backing plate, they then draw it back into the backing plate, so you have to slacken them off to tighten it up. And there's a ridge on the backing plate as well. This ridge just here means it's really hard to get a spanner on. Also, it's a terrible, terrible bit of design. Really, really inaccessible and not user-friendly at all. Well, there we go. The car is on the ground. The welding is done. It's been red oxide thickly. It's now been under sealed with some black textured gooey stuff. The brake line has been replaced. The wheel cylinder has been replaced. I've run the car up and pumped the brakes. Everything seems to be fine. So fingers crossed it's all good. And yeah, we'll take it back for an MOT retest in the morning. And then once it's retested and actually road legal again within our 7-day window, which is running out very quickly. Did I mention this earlier? So yeah, it's a rapid turnaround. Get this done. I went back and had a quick chat with the MOT tester this morning just to make sure that the front lower arms are only an advise rather than a fail. So I said we'd get that done after the retest has been done. Well, we are back, and good news, we've incredibly, against all the odds and the possibility in general, got an MOT pass on this old bus again. It lives to see another year of the British road. What this means now though is I have very, very imminently got to go and get new lower arms for this thing because they're rotten and the ball joints are crusty, so those need doing interphrastically. Then I need to get underneath this thing and just go absolutely front to back and rust kill and underseal the entire chassis of the car. So we know there's no actual holes in it now because the MOT guy's been over it pretty thoroughly twice. So we're pretty confident it's no longer a crust fest, but it is a surface crust fest. So we need to get all that sorted out. Then we need to go back to our original list of things to sort out with the car, which has been superseded because we've still got the leaking roof, we've still got the floppy mirror, and we've still got the grindy prop shaft. I mean, I imagine when this thing finally does go off to its metallic grave in the sky, it's going to be grinding up into car heaven with a grinding prop shaft. But the fact it's not destined for the crusher just yet means we can go back to my ideas for making this more off-roady fun, because it's no longer a pristine, perfect car. It's an old car with a lot of miles and a very, very patched up floor. It's never going to be a high-value car. Let's have some fun with it. Let's make it into a really good off-roader, which already is a really good off-roader. Let's make it an even better off-roader. Right, thank you for watching. See you again soon. Like, subscribe, all that kind of business. Goodbye.